Thank you. I will be sharing my screen with you. So a few words about myself. So my name is Gwenael. You can call me Gwen. I'm the head of sales of Caruso. And in the next 20 minutes, I will give you an overview of our marketplace and how you can access in-vehicle data, telematic data through Caruso. So to begin with, our marketplace was founded in 2017. So we are a startup. We aim at connecting on one side data providers. So these are primarily the car manufacturers with data consumers. So in data consumer side, you can see insurance company, fleets, rental companies, workshop chains, and so on. What we see today on the car manufacturer side is that there are different OEMs, different telematic service providers that can provide telematic data, but it all comes in different formats and languages with different quality, different pricing. The role of Caruso as a platform is to collect the data from the different providers, to standardize it, and then to make it available in a format that is easy to consume for the data consumers. The data consumers themselves, they can develop new services based on this data, maybe acquire new customers or improve their processes. Yeah. We are purely a B2B platform, so we don't normally interact and work with the end user, with a car driver. This whole market related to connected car and telematic services is still information. As what Marcel was saying in his presentation, we see significant growth potential for the coming years. Today, as we speak, on Caruso side, our estimate is that on the European passenger car park market, about 15% of the cars are connected. Yeah, and this portion should grow by 40%, so reach 40% by 2025. So today, the majority of cars are not connected. This makes sense when you think that the average age of the car park in Europe is about 10 years. Yeah, but we will see more and more cars getting connected in the coming years. We see mostly the car manufacturer as one of the main driver of this connection. This is the blue portion in this graph, where you see this strong increase from 9% to 31%. Telematic service providers, this gray portion, also play a role, but it varies from one market to another. For example, if we have exceptions in Europe, if we look at Italy, in Italy today already 40% of the car park is connected, primarily through a telematic service provider using these black boxes for insurance purposes. As we speak today about this blue area through Caruso, you can access already data from 3 major OEMs. So we work together with BMW, Mini, Mercedes, and since the beginning of this year with the Volkswagen Group for the Volkswagen and Audi brand. More OEMs should become accessible in the coming month. We are also expecting more data points from each OEM and raising an increasing common base of data points across all OEMs. So what are these data points? What can we see through this connected car? The key to identify the car is always the VIN number. Once I give in the VIN and I get the consent from the driver to access his data, I'm able to see a relatively big amount of data. So I can check the status of the car, if there are error codes in the car, for example, this DTC. I can look at the car from the maintenance point of view, when is the next service due, what is the mileage of this car, and I can even check sensor values like battery voltage, coolant temperature, and so on. What you see on the screen are just a few examples. As we speak, we have more than 85 data points which are already available through Caruso platform, and our total catalog of data lists more than 500 data points. How to work with us? It's quite simple. You can do it through 5 steps. First, you need to register with our marketplace. Once you have an account, you are able to explore the marketplace. I'll give you a very short live demo later on. Then you can purchase data, so subscribe. It's a subscription model. And finally, we help you to integrate this data in your solution and to consume it, so to start really your business based on data. So the first step is to register with us. It's very easy. You just contact us through the email hello@caruso-dataplace.com that you can see on your screen. You can get a free of charge demo account for 3 months to enable you to look at the marketplace and see what's available there. Yeah. So it's fairly easy to register. Once you've registered, you can actually explore and see what's available on the marketplace. Here, I will give you a very short demo of a marketplace. I just log in to Caruso. And when I land on the marketplace, I see all these small tiles, okay? So through these tiles, each of these tiles is a package of data from a different suppliers, a different car manufacturer, with the exception of a demo car data, which is a kind of virtual OEM that you can use for simulation purposes. Yeah. And for example, if I click on one of these tiles, Mercedes-Benz Pay As You Drive, I get a summary of the data item available. For example, it's mileage for connected Mercedes-Benz for insurance-related purposes. I get a description of the data. What are exactly the data item? I can access sample data. I see which countries are covered for access to this data. I'm also able to see the terms and conditions that I need to accept if I want to buy this data. And I also see the price, of course. So for Mercedes, for these data packages, it costs you €1.58 by month. And you can make a maximum of 2 calls to these cars per day. So here you have basically all the information. Also available on the marketplace is our API documentation, so our developer portal, where you have a complete overview of a Caruso data catalog, so all the data points you can access through us. You have a description of our API, how to exchange with our platform, retrieve data, and so on and so on. I'll go back to the presentation. So today, if we look at the possible application of this data, the scope is really very broad. Yeah, you can use the data for workshop applications, for example, to do predictive maintenance, to do remote diagnostic. The whole electronic diagnostic business in the coming year is going to move over the air. So more and more workshops would be not using scan tools anymore, but directly connect over the air with cars. Of course, for fleet management, as we already mentioned, there are a lot of applications, leasing. We work with a lot of software startups that are developing new use cases and innovation based on car data. We work with insurance companies, roadside assistance, EV charging, all the EV cars are connected, fueling, and so on and so on. On Caruso side, we do not really develop these use cases. They are brought to us by our partners, by the data consumers, but we provide you the data to be able to create and to launch these applications. So if when scrolling on our marketplace, you find the right data package for your use case, the next step is to subscribe. So it means you select the data package, you check the information, you need to accept the term and condition, and then you can buy this data package to start integrating it in your solution. The integration works at two levels. First, there is the technical integration on the API side, yeah, and then there is also the topic of consent and the legal integration to make sure when we work with VIN-based data, so it's personal data, that we have the consent of the registered keeper of a vehicle. So I'll start with the API integration, and then I'll touch to the legal integration. So the API integration, the concept, as I was explaining you earlier, is that through Caruso, you have access to multi-make in-vehicle data in a harmonized format. So in the example you can see on your screen, we are retrieving a mileage, so the odometer value from a BMW or a Mercedes. As you can see, they come in different formats. Through Caruso, we are standardizing these inputs from the car manufacturers. And as a consumer, what you get is no matter which brand you queried through a marketplace, you get a single answer with the mileage for the two VINs that you provided. So on the data consumer side, you only need to log in once to Caruso, and then you are able to access all the OEMs we have agreements with, and it's growing constantly. You are able to access all the data points in this harmonized format. In this process, we also manage and centralize the billing and payment. So you only need one billing and payment account with us. And every month, just as you can think of your phone bill, you receive a bill with all the data that you have consumed. Yeah. So very often it's a lot of micro transactions. So the advantage is you get it consolidated, and you only have one point of contact for all the car makes. If we talk about the second aspect of integration, which is the legal integration, as I was saying earlier, we are using VIN-based data, so it's personal data. So it means we need the consent of the registered keeper or the driver of the car. Here we have two possibilities. You can go on the left for an individual user consent. For example, through an app, if I'm an insurance company, I could ask the user of pay-as-you-drive telematic insurance to register and to give me his consent. In this individual user consent process, we support the data consumer, the insurance company. So we integrate with them so that they can, the user can provide the consent to Caruso, and we also integrate with the OEM so that the OEM can be also informed, as many OEM require this double opt-in consent, so also want to receive the explicit consent from the registered keeper, but he is willing to share his data with the insurance company. So this is one possibility. If you have a large fleet of maybe several thousand cars, you'd rather avoid this individual process, which can be time-consuming. You can cover fleet application, the consent for fleet application through a contract with the different drivers where they agree on sharing the data with the fleet manager. And then we have a specific contract with the different OEMs to allow you to make this bulk VIN integration. So once we sign the contract, we can provide a kind of bulk consent for a complete list of VIN. Yeah. So this is to provide the consent. Revocation is also very simple. The data consumer can inform us directly, Caruso. The registered keeper can also revoke the consent directly in the app, if we look at the individual user consent, or through the OEM portal. So here there are a lot of, it's quite easy to also stop the data flow once the driver or the register keeper wants to revoke. Yeah. So we've covered the first four steps. Then we come to the final stage after the integration, really using the data and consuming it. Here there are a lot of possible constellations. Yeah. So in some cases, your end user will be using your application where he registers, provides the consent, manage also the consent from this application. So that's one solution. In some cases, your end user does not use an app. Okay. In this case, we can also manage the consent process by email, for example, and also revoke it by email if it's necessary. And if we have a fleet, as I said, you can, based on the fleet agreement, just send the VINs to Caruso, and we are able to deliver the data once you've shared with us this list of VINs. So you can manage this list of VIN at any point of time, add new VINs or remove them to retrieve data for your fleet. Yeah. I'm coming to the end of my presentation. What is important for you to know, for this year, Caruso is not charging any fee on the data from the car manufacturer. So if you're a data consumer working with us, we invoice you one-to-one what we pay to OEMs, to the car manufacturers. And on top of that, with several car manufacturers, we have volume-based discounts. And since we aggregate the demand on the consumer side, we are able to negotiate the best possible pricing for you. So it's really a win situation for the data consumer. They have a kind of best price guarantee when they work together with us. So if you're interested in working with us, getting hands-on experience with telematic data, it's fairly easy. As I said, you can start with a free trial, so free of charge for 3 months. We'll give you access to the marketplace, to our developer portal, to our data catalog, and you can play with this virtual OEM to already start receiving data and see how it integrates with your own solution. Yeah? You have some email support if there is any issue. Yeah? If you're serious about starting your telematic data business, so we have this business package, 1,500 euro for a 12-month membership on the platform, where you can then actually buy data from the different OEMs. We guarantee you service level agreements. You manage the consent through this unified flow, and you get a better email and phone support. For larger companies, we have this Business Plus package where you also get consulting, expert support. If you need us to help you with the consent process or developing your use case, you get free data for 50 vehicles if you want to start a proof of concept with a small fleet. And finally, if you need even more support, we have a special innovator package on demand, where you also get access to different think tanks, such as our Hub for Mobility Solutions, our OEM Data Lab, and all the activities Caruso is developing for innovators. Yeah. So we've come to the end of my presentation. So you have my contact on these slides, and I'll be happy to answer questions in the sessions later on. Yeah. Thank you very much.